A rookie park ranger gets assigned with a night shift when he hears a terrified lost hiker begging him for help, losing his way in the woods at night. As the ranger guides him towards the tower, he receives transmissions from the same man, uttering sinister and threatening messages that the ranger will die tonight.
Are you going to save him?
Hi folks, I'm R and welcome to the video. Send me your game and movie suggestions on Twitter, which I can use for the upcoming videos. This video will contain spoilers. With that in mind, let's begin. A rookie park ranger is on a night shift, being in the watchtower, observing the park. The ranger soon receives a radio transmission from the other last remaining park ranger that he's leaving, making the protagonist the only ranger present at the Gracewind Park, being in tower number 4, all alone at night.
Hourly, good to hear, Tower 4. Kicking off for the night. Park's all yours. Over.
On a desk, he finds a written note of many people going missing throughout many years, with 8 missing the year the story is taking place in, being 1999. Alongside the note lies a book called Pillar and Tin with the title Myths and Legends of the Pacific Northwest, a book that has seemingly given rise to an urban legend, a goat man that has been the culprit of killing all the missing hikers. A rough sketch of the goat man is drawn and pinned to the pinboard, depicting a horrifying representation of him. There are also many headlines of missing hikers, connecting them to this mythical creature. Soon after, the ranger receives a radio transmission from a lost person, seemingly a hiker who frantically begs the ranger for help, mentioning that something is chasing him.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone there?
I saw this channel listed over the trails out here. I need you to help me. Something... I'm lost and something is chasing me. Please, you have to help me.
He goes to the extent saying that he would die if the ranger doesn't come to his rescue, with this strange creature following him, presumably being no other than the hostile goatman. The ranger proceeds to flash the floodlights to guide the lost hiker to the tower, with the hiker managing to see it and heading towards the tower. The hiker then regularly calls in to ask for directions at certain points to reach the tower. Meanwhile, there are other transmissions sounding similar to the lost hiker, having a more menacing tone, saying irrelevant things. At one point, the transmissions ask the ranger if he's watching the lake, when large glowing red eyes appear staring at him, as if they belong to the terrifying mythological goatman, who in fact is a giant as his eyes are easily observed from long distances. After some strange transmissions, with the lost ranger referring to himself as a third person, saying if you're going to save him, some other transmissions come in from the same man, asking for more directions and being frustrated and pushy.
Are you going to save him?
The ranger, horrified to what he's hearing and realizing that the goatman might be cutting in the transmissions, trying to trick him into giving his whereabouts, gives the man the wrong directions. After some time of giving the lost hiker the wrong directions, he reaches the empty watchtower far away from himself, which leads to the hiker becoming angry and pushy, asking the ranger for his location, saying that he needs to know where he is, not wanting to be alone.
Hello? You there? Where am I? Where did you send me? Because I just showed up to some empty tower. I already told you. This is not funny. I have had an extremely long night. So please, just tell me where you are. Show me where you are. I need to know that I am not alone out here.
The ranger decides to ignore the transmissions when eventually at the end of the night, the man is rescued from tower number 2. A news article gets published that the ranger saved the life of the lost hiker, who thought to have been chased by a wild animal, narrowly surviving with the help of the ranger. This reveals that the strange transmissions sounding similar to the hiker were from no other than the mythical Goatman, an actual real creature possessing powerful abilities. The Goatman seemingly did not see the light at the beginning, and that's why he mimicked the lost hiker's voice and asked the ranger for directions to get to him and savagely kill him, as seemingly the Goatman is a bloodthirsty entity. Thanks to the ranger's instincts, the Goatman doesn't find neither of the towers, number 2 or number 4, not being able to kill neither of the hiker or the ranger. Despite the terrifying and sinister transmissions of the Goatman, the park ranger managed to keep his cool and do the best for both himself and the lost hiker, guiding him to go to tower number 2 so the Goatman would not be able to trace any of them. This depicts how intelligent and cunning this supernatural entity is, who can easily mimic humans' voices and even emotions to trick his prey before killing them. In this ending, if the ranger directs the lost hiker to go to the cave rather than towards the lake, it ends up with him dying. The news releases an article mentioning the park services have declared his death due to a bear attack. But in an interview with the park ranger, being a guest in Midnight Star show, he explains that in fact there was a monster involved who was imitating the lost hiker's voice in order to trick the ranger. The note appearing behind the newspaper article by the Midnight Star, written in red ink, displays the thoughts of the previous park rangers of why the park services dismissed the disappearance of many of the hikers before as just other animal attacks. Are they involved in some way? Have they made a deal with the Goatman, or are they his followers? Whatever it is, they clearly try to hide the fact that the people who have gone missing in the park were due to the Goatman. In this ending, when the ranger is instructed to tell where he is after hearing a radio transmission by the hiker, if he decides to flash his floodlight, the Goatman discovers his location and gets to him very quickly. This leads to the Goatman appearing behind the watchtower cabin, just staring at the park ranger menacingly. A news article is subsequently published mentioning that they found a man in watchtower number 2, indicating that in fact the radio transmission came from the lost hiker who was begging for help, who was incoherent with fear when found, repeating the same words, quoting that it had my voice, referring to the Goatman, who mimicked his voice to trick the park ranger. This leads to the park ranger also disappearing, with evidence of a break-in in tower number 4 where he was stationed. In this ending, both the hiker and the ranger die under the hands of the monstrous Goatman. This can happen if the ranger gives the hiker the right directions and flashes his floodlights towards the end, unveiling his location to the Goatman. A newspaper article mentions how the locals believe the disappearances of the ranger and the hiker are due to the mythical, malevolent entity labeled as the Goatman, who had the ability to mimic people's voices. However, the park services yet again rule out the possibility of a monster and label the disappearances as animal attacks, as if they are truly trying to hide something. Therefore, Goatman in fact mimicked the hiker's voice at certain points only, talking in a menacing tone, terrifying his prey and victims to make them easier to catch and hurt. If the ranger is not careful enough and reveals his location, he becomes the target of the Goatman as well. It's not clear what the Goatman exactly does to his victims, but it's quite likely he consumes them as a way of feeding himself. He might also consume their characteristics and intelligence by doing that, shown through his human-like characteristics, such as speaking and mimicking people's voices.
Should I make it run? Run. Any minute. Hello? Hello? Is anyone
There are different varieties of stories about the urban legend of Goatman with different descriptions and behaviors, but in this story, he dwells within the woods and hunts lost hikers, taking their characteristics and savagely eating them. And that brings us to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to stay tuned by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your host R, and I will see you on the next one.